Hello everybody, welcome back to Pesterquest. Been a couple weeks. We had Jane last week, which turned out better and worse than I expected. Better in terms of Jane's character, because Jane is apparently just a notoriously hard character to write for some reason. Which is something I don't entirely understand. I don't know how many of you remember Jane from Namco High, which was a goofy little dating sim, sort of, with a bunch of Namco characters. And since Andrew Hussey was director of that, he snuck a few Homestuck characters in, including Jane. And Jane was just... They just completely got her character wrong. Like, actually incorrect. Like, even worse, if you can believe it, even worse than Jane in the epilogues. How about that? You know, so... Yeah, I don't know. Something about Jane is just hard to write, evidently. Which is strange, because she seems not that hard to write. I mean, she's just, like, kind of a nice person who likes to bake. I don't know. Anyway. So, Jane was lovely in that route, although one of the bad endings was very bad. Like, catastrophically bad. Like, possibly generated a new big bad that characters are going to have to deal with in Homestuck 2 bad, so that's interesting, I suppose. But aside from that, it is now time for our next character, who I assume is Jake, because Jake just seems like next. Yep, it's Jake. Okay, that's right, adventure! Yes, one of the bad endings is Pokemon Freak in chat just said one of the bad endings is premise-generatingly bad, you know, which is the perfect way of putting it. Yes, it's so bad that it may have generated an entirely new story arc for someone to deal with down the line, whether it be a fan fiction writer or the actual, you know, story itself in the future of the game. I'm not the only one hearing that tell in Seahawk's voice. I would be surprised. I mean, of course, I would be surprised if anyone is hearing this in anything but Seahawk's voice. Let's be perfectly frank here. The only way you're not reading that title in Seahawk's voice is if you haven't seen She-Ra, which, go watch She-Ra, it's very good. But that's neither here nor there. It's time for... It's adventure time with Jake English, and... Hugbees in the TARDIS in my chat kindly created a little Adventure Time theme to go with Jake English instead of Jake the dog. Adventure Time, come on, make some friends. We'll go to very distant islands with MSPA Reader the question mark and Jake the human. The fun will never end. It's Pesterquest time. All right, adventure. Excuse me. Okay. And immediately, before we even get to anything, there's a freaking Biclops staring at us. All you wanted to do was make a new friend, and now you're running like hell from a giant white creature with two heads, each sporting a single garish eye, like a kind of Cyclops, except with two of the one-eyed faces. So I guess it's a Duoclops? Whatever it is, it's angry as hell and chasing you through a tangled jungle. You leap over a stand of ferns and duck under one of those big woody vines jungles always have. Always have. After befriending Jane, you asked her for the names of some of her friends. Not too many details. You made that mistake with Sullix. Just a little... Funny you should mention Sullix at the moment. You made that mistake with Sullix. Just a little tantalizing friendship amuse-bouche to get you started. Amuse-bouche to get you started. Specifically, you were interested in the friend that needed her help daily. Now that sounded like some fertile ground for a relationship. You kind of regret bringing it up, though, because Jane got very flustered telling you about Jake. It's clear that her friendship with the guy is a topic of some emotional turmoil. Well, who better to help sort that out than you, everyone's friend? But instead of friendship, you've been greeted by a number of ferocious white monsters. Your garbled brain offers up what you probably pissed off... offers up that you probably pissed off this kid's Lucius. Except this is Earth? Between different planets, different universes, and the mess of timelines in your memory, you're having a hard time figuring out. You trip over a big tree root and land smack on your face in the dirt. You choke on decaying plant matter clawing at your throat, and roll over on your back just in time to see the duoclops about to bring down one huge foot right in your vulnerable body. Are you allowed to start over if you haven't even made a branching choice yet? You cover your eyes. Bang, bang. Nothing happens. After a moment of Olympic-level breath-catching, you venture a peek. Duoclops is in pieces on the ground. 2 pieces. You hope the... Oh, dear. I bet it was the little... one of Dirk's robots. The duoclops is in pieces on the ground. 2 pieces. You hope the thematic resonance offered is some comfort during such a brutal end. You scramble to your feet. Your future new friend Jake must have intervened to save you. You look around for him, but there's another swoosh noise and a glint of metal, and something inhuman appears in front of the duoclops' body. Yep, Dirkbot. It's a robot. Kind of a cartoony one, with shiny metal joints and a big red anime sunglasses. It even has perfectly gelled metal hair gel. Even has a perfectly gelled metal hairstyle. Honestly, it looks pretty goofy, but it's also holding a katana and staring right at you. You think you saw something similar broken all over the floor of Equus's room. You must be a battle bot, and you don't have the strength of your punchiest friend. Okay. I mean, you all know what I'm laughing at. Like, I didn't even have to... Like, I don't think I even need to specify which of these 2 options seemed hilariously poor. So let's do it. With a yell, you charge forward, waving your arms intimidatingly. Yeah, it's a robot. It's not scared. The robot implacably waits for your approach, then strikes out in one swift motion, too fast to see. You crumble to the ground, your roll exploding in pain. You huddle into a ball, waiting for the robot to finish you off. But it's not interested. It zooms away, leaving you in agonies. Oh no, this was actually the right answer. Or maybe it is. In the bursts of lucidity available to you, you discern that it has kicked you in the chest, breaking several of your ribs. No problem, that's totally a survivable injury. You'll be fine, and ready to get your friendship Katamari rolling in no time. You're just gonna lay here for a bit, just to gather your strength. Ome wa shinderu. Just gonna lie here, too injured to run, surrounded by ferocious beasts, and leaking delicious aromatic blood. Just for a minute or 2. Monster bait. Game over. Robot didn't even do us the service of killing us off quickly. They just left us for the monsters. Oh, look at this. Yep. There we go. And we're back in our hoodie for some reason, which we haven't been explicitly wearing for a while, but, you know, canon is irrelevant, I guess. We fought a few things in Pesterquest, and it's always been a stupid idea, except for Spider-Mom. Yeah, Spider-Mom is the one thing where it was a good idea to fight her. Which is something I'm totally down with. Do not challenge the robot. You default to your old standby, cowering. You shrink back, hands raised in the universal symbol for... Whoa, now! Shit. No horse pun intended. For some reason, the thought of Equus and the presence of this robot are making your brain go right to horses. Did that even count as fighting? No. Yeah, that's another thing, too, is like the Spider-Man fight wasn't really a fight so much as just teleport away. So I made that joke, it's like that came up in Star Versus the other day, too, where it's like, there's something to be said for just teleporting your enemy away. Like you don't need, I mean, doesn't matter how strong they are, if you can just snap your fingers and they go to the other side of the planet. Game over. That's fine. It's fine. Suddenly a shot rings out behind you. It sounds so stupid that you almost don't believe it. But it's true. Who's shooting a gun at a robot? The robot makes a little startup noise and raises its katana into a ready stance. A blur of green and khaki charges out of the jungle and tackles the robot full in the stomach. It doesn't fall to the ground. Instead, it puts the kid, a human you can see now, so probably this Jake guy, into a headlock. He struggles, lashing out with his elbows and kicking at its ankles. The robot proceeds to beat the kid up. There's no reason to describe it in detail. It's unpleasant to watch and makes you feel really bad. You didn't even know there could be a polar opposite of Equus, but this kid is it. The robot is super effective against him. Oh no. You have to stop it, but there's too much action for you to get close. Even if you could reach Jake, there's no way you could zap him out of there without bringing the BattleBot with you. Except, things have been weird lately. The accepted rules of your powers no longer seem so inviolable. Maybe you can just do it? You close your eyes and think really hard about bringing Jake with you. When you open your eyes, a young man stands in his bedroom. Wait, is it Jake's birthday? No. What? You shake your head in consternation. Anyway, you manage to bring Jake, and only Jake, into the house. A young man stands in his bedroom. Let's take a better look at this room. It's like, okay, let's see, we got the old standbys, Mystique, what's her name from Avatar, what's her name from Star Wars. Let's see, Ghost Rider. Oh yeah, Ghost Rider, he would like that movie. The Mummy, Tomb Raider, National Treasure, Knight's Tale. No Uncharted. There are a couple Mummy posters, now that I look at it. It's funny. Weekend at Bernie's I see up there, but what's this one? I can't quite tell what this one's supposed to be. I don't know. Fun collection of movie posters. Terminator, of course. And another Weekend at Bernie's. He's got multiple Weekend at Bernie's. Anyway. You stand there, clutching his side and panting, recovering from the robo beatdown. The guy's bedroom is so covered in movie posters, it's hard to even see the shape of the walls. The floor is littered with weaponry. A lot of the kids you've met live like this, basically lounging around in piles of detritus pertaining to their character-defining interests. Well, looking around, and that's kind of how I live. Not sure how I should feel about that. Really do need to clean up my house this weekend. Okay, listen to this music for a second, because it's nice. This is a little Paper Mario-y. Is it just me, or is it Paper Mario-y? It's got like that old-school RPG tavern kind of sound to it, you know what I mean? Anyway, it's clear to anyone who sees this room that he absolutely fucking loves movies and guns. You don't need to waste any time on exposition there. Is this a Toby Fox number? Yeah, I could. Alright. Well, I'll take a look at it in the credits after the game, but I would believe it. Jeezums Creasums, you're already... Jeezums Creasums, you're already over there... You're right over there, my chromatically challenged chappie? You're fine. Jake is the one who seems hurt. That robot really did a number on him. I'll say, confounded thing practically never done do a number on me. It does so many numbers, it's one short of a standing ovation down on Broadway Ave. I'm just glad I could be here to help. You know, life is always just a smidgen easier with a bro's helping hand firmly placed on your behind. Phrasing? With a friend behind you is what I mean to say. Oh, sure. Yeah, Jake's portrait looks nice, by the way. Although, like, I'm already used to the idea of him having a mustache. He's just... Like, Jake just seems like a guy who should have a big, bushy mustache at all times, regardless of age. Jake doesn't really seem fazed by any of this. Not the alien monsters on his island, not your presence, and not his ungainly defeat at the hands of the anime robot. Not even by you teleporting him around. Well, sure, my good buddy Jane told me you might drop by. And honestly, I've been chomping at the proverbial bit to meet your old fellow, my lad. I'm sure Janie showed you a good time as she is a stand-up host and a top-notch friendo. An absolute wonder winch, and no doubt about it. But gosh, I've been so gung-ho to show a brand new personage around the old digs. Get it? I live in a ruined temple, so it's literally digs. Jake should have been born with a mustache, exactly. Nudges you with a meaningful elbow and gives you a hearty raise of the eyebrows. Did he just say that out loud? He did. Well, here you are, ready to be shown around the ruined temple. Where to first? Let's not actually go there. You know, I'm no stranger to danger, but there's nothing like a man's familiar four walls to give him a feeling of peace and quietude. We'd better hide out for a bit. Just a tactical withdrawal whilst my robot buddy and the usual monster menagerie are out and about. Right, the monsters. He was born with glasses, why wouldn't he be born with a mustache? Exactly! You can't help but notice that this is the same island where Jade lived. But instead of one big white creature custodian like Beck, Jake has lots. Trying to be culturally sensitive, you tell him it must have been nice to have such a big family. Jake looks perplexed. I reckon it must be nice. I can't say I've ever had one, though. My family's what you're looking at if you couldn't have picked up... If family's what you're looking for, you could have picked the worst place to mount your search. Couldn't have picked the worst place to mount your search. You need to see Jake and John's sprites side by side for comparison. Well, I can quickly switch them back and forth. Whoops, that's the wrong button. Here, watch. Boo. 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 Jake's a little more square-jawed than John. Which makes sense, because technically he is a little older than John, because remember, this is 13-year-old John, and this is 16-year-old Jake. This is also two entirely different expressions. If we get, like, a really excited Jake face, I'll do the little switch back and forth again, so we can compare them. There's about as much familiar spirit at my locale as cows in a cornfield. They do have the same teeth. Which is to say, there's simply none to be seen. Oh shit, you've misinterpreted things? So Jake really just lives here alone? That must be hard. I'll say, as another of my friends could tell you, there's nothing worse than being a teen stranded alone in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. My grandma used to live here with me, but she died long ago. You think of your friend John, or rather his corpse, standing ceremonially in Jane's living room? Same house, similar kids, same island, mysteriously dead grandma. It's not hard to put two and two together and come up with your dead friend Jane. It's a gut punch, even though the inexorable passage of time means that, of course, you could zap to the future and visit time periods where all of your friends are dead if you wanted. Well, you could try, and you're going to end up meeting Roxy and Dirk. I see how that's... yeah. Foreshadowing! I guess that's kind of what you did to your old friends by skipping around so many years in Alternia. Wow, you're kind of starting to hyperventilate about this. You focus hard on Jake, trying to pull yourself together. Luckily, he doesn't seem to have noticed anything is wrong with you. Jake seems like the kind of person who doesn't have room in his head to talk and notice other people at the same time. If I were rebooting Homestuck, one of my priorities would be tweaking John and Jake's design so they're easier to tell apart. Yeah, I can see that. They are incredibly similar at a glance. Like, of any pair of characters, they are probably the two most similar. Although, like, we'll wait and see how, like, because we haven't seen Candy John in Homestuck 2 yet, so he might actually look different from Jake in Homestuck 2 now. We'll just have to wait and see on that one, though. Maybe next update, if I read next update, which... that's a conversation for later. But I try not to complain. After all, things could be worse. I have all the cans a boy could ever want to cookalize. I get to romp in the pumpkin patch to my heart's delight. Plus, this island is the perfect setting for one of the coolest things in the world. That's right, adventure! See, now I am torn, because, like, I want to give him, like, the old-timey radio voice, because that's him. But also, yeah, that's right, adventure. Title drop! But also, like, giving him, like, giving him a Seahawk voice would just sort of be perfect. The thrill of discovery! The frenzy of battle! It's the most fulfilling diversion of them all. Why, no boy of a sound disposition could feel sad about his perpetual isolation, the deadness attribute of his family members, when the whole dark and teeming jungle is available for his dauntless exploration. Is that really what he thinks? Can't help but remember about 30 seconds ago when Jake said they didn't want to go out to the ruins. You're no problem, Sleuth, but Jake's room looks pretty lived in, not to mention the quality of movie consumption suggested by his decor. You're about to respond when there's a horrendous clatter from down below. Jake freezes, a small animal caught in headlights. You suspect the headlights are of the red anime sunglasses variety? Oh, fuck buttons. The metal maverick makes his return. Listen, you look like a rum customer with primo getaway sticks. Fleeing is probably your best option here. You don't get it? The last guy you knew who made a habit of consorting with BattleBots always bested him handily. Why would Jake make something he couldn't beat? Whoa, jumpin' Jehoshaphat! I'm touched by your high opinion of my robotics know-how. No, I didn't make the brobot. My best buddy did. He's a genuine whiz kid with tech of all kinds, and a real thoughtful guy, even though sometimes I wish he would apply some of that brig Banebox to helping me just a touch more. He couldn't be here himself because of the physical limitations of time and space, so he sent the robot to train me. It's really nice if you think about it. I mean, at first I thought it was somewhat overbearing and unnecessary, but after Dirk explained it to me, I got that it was his way of being nice. His best friend sounds... Not everyone is as lucky as me to have 3 stalwart compadres to brighten their day when they live alone on a murder island. When you think about it, I'm just about the luckiest gent who ever got stranded in the Pacific with a passel of furious monsters and a killer robot. I mean... I mean, you're not wrong. Go away, pop-up. You guess someone could say that? If that someone was Jake. Another harsh sound from below reminds you that of the urgency of the situation. You could easily teleport the two of you out of here, but, well... The creepy biotech chittering noise of drones still echoes in your memories. You've had some bad experience trying to escape a killer robot with a set of eyes on a friend. Escape via teleportation seems like a temporary solution at best. Sooner or later, Jake's probably going to have to face the robot. Is there some way the two of you acting together can take it down? You don't understand. It learns from your actions. Anytime I've even started to get the jump on that dad-burned chrome-ass sucker, it just turns around and gives itself a thorough school-feeding on the topic of kicking my sweet bibby. If we fight together, it'll just learn how to fight 2 people. And then you'll have to leave me all by my lonesome. I'll be up Ship Creek with nearly a paddle to be found. It's like that robot in The Incredibles. Except instead of being an absolute fantastic work of cinematic art, it's my real life. Incredibles is a good movie. Incredibles 2 is okay-ish. Jeezums Creasums. Jake's friend is among the worst gift givers you've ever seen. Fair. There's just one thing we can do. If a hasty retreat isn't what tickles your biscuit, we could find a way to turn on novice mode. It'll be easier to deal with. I usually don't do it, but I'd hate to subject the guests to the violent visitations of a robotic rascal. I just can't remember how it's done. Oh, okay. So at least this friend included an easy mode. You were starting to think this guy was one of those gamers who thought easy modes cheapened the experience. If he designed this thing with a novice mode, maybe he can remind Jake how to trigger it? Well, I have to admit, you really put my achromatic digit right in the crux of the matter there, amigo. Strider's a bang-up bro, and I wouldn't utter a word against him, but he doesn't really like to offer help. I imagine he'll think it's my fault for forgetting in the first place, and he probably won't want to give me the answer because I won't learn the lesson that I shouldn't be so forgetful. Wow, okay, you're starting to form some tentative opinions on this Strider guy. Oh boy. That said, boyo, I think you've stumbled upon quite the slick solution to our woes. There's no shame in the brave adventurer asking for help when he's well and truly fucked. Maybe we can find someone willing to offer us their casa as a temporary abode. Oh sure, you could do that. Maybe Jake could message Jane? Although now you think about it, given how Jane talked about Jake when you were there, it seems cruel to spring something like that on her with so little lead time to prepare yourself. You don't want to fluster her too badly. You quickly backpedal, telling Jake that Jane seemed too busy when you were there last. Is there anyone else? Well, Roxy's probably zazzled by now. Zazzled? You know, pig-eyed, on the toot. Tying one in, deep in the giggle water, 3 sheets of the cold nor'easter. Wait, she's drunk? Bingo is his name-o. Is this a common thing? And she's Jake's age? You don't want to make any assumptions, but that sounds, well, concerning. It is. And also familiar? You remember what feels like a long time ago now, helping a girl symbolically trash her mom's liquor collection? Of course, alcoholism isn't that rare, but still, you're starting to feel like there's something strange about all these convergent circumstances. Anyway, is Jake sure his friend is okay? Oh no, it's nothing like that. Roxy's just a fun and wacky gal, haha. Sure, she dribbles in the devil's drink, but she always seems to be having such a good time. I wouldn't want to make any unfair assumptions about it. It's kind of ironic. I think about it, it's a little weird how, like, in Homestuck 2 now, Roxy is just about the only one who isn't a fucking alcoholic. I don't know. Speaking of drinking problems, there I go, screwing it up. Anyway. Somehow this fails to make you feel any better. I guess asking Strider for help is our only option. I just know he's going to be a complete pain in the keister about it. Have to butter him up like a morning muffin? Are you any good at manners of persuasion? Yikes. You want to understand where this kid is coming from, but you're reaching your limits here. Is this really all the friendships Jake's has? If so, this is bleak. There's clearly some kind of feeling-based train wreck on the horizon for him and Jane. His friend Roxy is obviously having a crisis, and Jake pretends not to see it. And his friendship with Strider has more red flags than the People's Republic of China. Yep. Welcome to the Alpha, kids! Enjoy your stay. These kids are a disaster. Jake English has never pretended not to see anything in his life. Never. Never happens. Not ever. It's not something he is prone to do in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. Never. Perish the thought. How dare you suggest such a thing? Is this what Jake is willing to put up with? Just for companionship? He just pretends he doesn't see the huge issues in his friendships to keep the peace? Is this what it looks like when someone is so indiscriminately hungry for affection that they're willing to go along with anything to get it? There is the pot calling the kettle black if ever I saw it. That's great. It's fucking hilarious right there is what that is. You've had about enough. You tell Jake he can't stand this anymore. This life that he has, it's not good. It's not even close. He lost his family and he's scared to leave his house. His only company in real life is a robot that's programmed to hurt him, and he thinks it was a gift. He seems unwilling to face the glaring flaws in his closest relationships. And all of this might be hard and sad, but it can't be helping Jake to be so deep in denial about it. You can't just cover all this up with cavalier optimism. There's no way that's the best way for him to live. It's funny, we haven't even gotten to, like, a choice about this. Like MSPA Radar is just unloading all of this right now, and we haven't even gotten to an actual choice about it. You understand it must be scary for scary when there seem to be structural flaws in every one of Jake's support pillars, but addressing them is the only way anything could get better. Because this, hiding out in his room all alone and just pretending he has the support he needs, is not sustainable. When the pot calls the kettle black, the kettle is still fucking black. That's actually a good quote. I like that. You don't say this part, but if he keeps going along... You don't say this part, but if he keeps going along with what other people want him to be, you're scared for what's going to happen to him as he grows up. That can't lead anywhere good. No kidding. After your rant, Jake stares at you aghast. You start to feel bad. Yes, he probably needed to hear those things, but you could have guided him more gently. You're usually an expert at encouraging people slowly towards emotional growth, but this kid really got under your skin. But then Jake's face crumples. You're absolutely right. Oh, I am lying to myself. I manicure the image of myself as some brave adventurer, but I don't go to the ruins unless I have to. And I suppose on some level I've suspected that things with Jane, Roxy, and Dirk weren't exactly Jake. Wait, what? Oh, it's like a word that means good. It's just plain English. Jake English. Haha. Ha. Anyway. I guess I didn't realize how serious it was, or how much I was really ignoring. Gee fucking Willikers, it's not easy to hear that all this come across loud and clear. Gee fucking Willikers, it's not easy to hear that all this came across clear to a complete stranger. Loud and clear to a complete stranger. That really makes me feel low. Well, I guess for a truly brave gentleman, the only thing to do is to do better from here on out. It's scary, but I do want to be the kind of person who is kind and who is honest and forthright. A real hero. If I'm not doing that, then I need to figure out how to do that. Holy smokes, you've really opened my eyes, mixed mystery friend. Oh yeah, that's like a general neutral that's like a general neutral variant on Mr. or Mrs. that's been floating around out there, right? Pretty sure that's what that is. Mixed mystery friend. You've really got a knack for spotting problems. Do you think you could stick around and help me do better? It's like asking the sun if it minds shining. Helping people confront their buried issues and come out of it, change for the better? Why, that's the very thing you've desperately latched onto to give your life some kind of purpose. But something about this feels off. Was your rant really all it took to turn things around for Jake? Did you really just fix him? Doesn't seem right. Definitely not good pacing, anyway. Yeah, we haven't even gotten to the big choice yet. Jake is looking at you with big green puppy eyes. You have to make a choice. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it's... I mean, agree to help does sound like the obvious choice. But then again, you know, for all the... You know... I don't know. Like, this almost seems too obvious, you know? And also, like, Dirk might have a point about how Jake needs to, like, learn his own lessons sometimes. Because, like, he really doesn't, like, if we do help him, he's just sort of, like, following our lead instead of following Dirk's lead, and that's, I mean, not really an improvement yet, because Dirk isn't actually evil yet, you know? So, This episode is weirdly paced. I'm more curious about this second option, because I don't know where that's... I mean... Yeah, let's not help. Or... I don't know. I like... Like, once... Like, I honestly... It's... Yeah, I'm just gonna go with my gut and pick what I think is the wrong answer. Well, I don't know. It's weird. It's like the text is like saying this up to be the wrong answer, but I don't know. I don't know. Let's not help and see what happens. You're about to say yes. Every part of you is straining to say yes and fulfill your life's purpose. Your real life's purpose, not like before when you were being mind-controlled to pursue friendship on whatever shallow or unsatisfying level is possible. This desire to help, to make your mark in whatever small positive way you can wrangle, is something you've figured out for yourself. It matters. But when you're about to open your mouth, you stall. A deep existential hopelessness washes over you, a kind that you thought you were past by now. You know what? Fuck it. Yes, you care, but honestly, you're exhausted. This feels like the wrong mindset for this. So much work coaxing teams through personal revelations, with no reward except the temporary abatement of your deep soul-level feeling of narrative irrelevance. You need a break. Why not give yourself a freebie? You tell Jake that you don't think he needs your help. It's enough for right now that he's realized there's a problem. There's no need to swallow down all your personal growth pills at once. Jake looks abjectly relieved. I can shoot straight from the hip, that's exactly what I was hoping you'd say. I think I've done enough already, too. Ooh, this has been a great talk. I feel like we're really firing on all cylinders friendship-wise. If you were a past version of yourself, that would make you feel really happy. Instead, you feel sick. Instead, the sick feeling of guilt is poisoning your guts. You're about to touch on something real there, and you know it was wrong to pull back from it. You're just not doing Jake any favors. Still, you give him a weak smile and offer him the best friend-making tool you know. Are there any faraway friends he's interested in connecting with? Boy howdy, what a proposition. I feel like one of those movie characters who's off with near unlimited power out of nowhere, like Bruce Almighty, ready to lasso the moon and damn the consequences on those pesky tides. There is someone I've had a hankering to meet with for a little tete-a-tete. Remember when I regaled you with the tale of my grandma? Oof, you're not sure you're going to be able to reunite this kid with his dead grandma. That seems like one of those things you won't be allowed to do, despite the supposed unlimitlessness of your power. You'd probably be blocked by that weird force, the one that seems to have a power that supersedes zapping anywhere at any time, place, or dimension. You don't like to think about that force too hard. No, my stalwart chum. I've been corresponding with in exploitatory fashion with a version of my grandma when she was a young girl. My pen pal, Jade. I understand if it's asking too much, but I'd love to meet her. Oh, that actually seems possible. She always said we'd meet someday in some roundabout, confusing who's-he-what's fashion, and I was pleased as a passel of possums to hear about it. But recently she stopped replying, right in the final run-up of the vaunted finish line. I've been all on Twitter with worry, I don't mind telling you. Do you think we could take a hop, skip, and jump over to her lodgings? What a relief! You actually know Jade. You can take him to Jade right now. Jake smiles a big, goofy grin at you. You should feel happy, you tell yourself sternly. This is a good thing to do. He said himself that you're fixing a concern of his. Hi, kitty. But the yawning malaise inside you only grows. You like to think of yourself as an agent of positive change, but here you are again, nothing but a glorified interdimensional taxi service. Whatever, who cares? At least he'll be with someone he loves. You grab Jake's hand and take him to his family. You expect the normal non-event of your zappy powers, but instead there's a sick, wrenching feeling, a kind of squeezing like you're not in the right shape for whatever you're doing. It steals your breath, and then it's gone. Nervously, you open your eyes. What? Oh, hey, what the f- We're in Hive Swap! What? Well, this is new. Man, remember when this game started off as a spin-off of Hive Swap? This is like the first actual reference to anything in that game in like the 2 years since FriendSim started. Well, it's like you said you wanted to imagine Jake's family, and here's Jake's family. Sorry. I'm still laughing about the fact that, like, we've been doing FriendSim / Pesterquest for... It really has been, like, 2 years, hasn't it? Since the first friend... Has it been, like... I think it's been 2 years, right? Or 1 year. I want to say 2 years. I don't remember. Like... And this is the first time we were actually referencing anything from Hive Swap in this Hive Swap spin-off. What the fuck? What the fuck does this have to do with how your powers are changing? Does this have to do with how your powers are changing? Sure, you were distracted and gloomy when you zapped, but you have no idea what just happened. So yeah, 2 years. FriendSim 1 was 2018, so it's been almost 2 years since FriendSim started. You're not at Jade's house. Wherever you are, it feels deeply wrong. The wrongness tangles through your bones and teeth like the vibrations of a jackhammer. You're not supposed to be here. You've got to get out of here. You grab Jake with a grimace and zap more carefully. Ah, there we go. You breathe a sigh of relief, which is sadly cut short as you turn and see Jade shoving the muzzle of a rifle in your face once again. You back up, hands raised. Jade, no, it's just you, her friend. You've already been through all of these wacky misunderstanding shenanigans with firearms. I know who it is. I just think you shouldn't be here. What? Don't get me wrong, I appreciate everything you've done for me. You have no idea what it meant to be able to meet my friends in person. The last time you came here, things got dangerous. I started to wonder if you have any idea what the consequences are for what you're doing. Cat. Okay, there's obviously something she needs to get off her chest, and you want to hear it. But can she put the gun down? You both know she's not actually going to shoot you. Oh, right. I guess the gun was a little over the top, but you startled me and I got really mad. Ever since you left last time, I've been thinking about what you did with me and Dave. Even though Beck didn't stop you, and I don't think he wanted me to be traveling around like that. I know you're a nice person, and you don't mean to do anything bad. I think it's impossible to have powers like yours without being a little corrupted by them. Says the girl who, like, in Homestuck proper was probably the most powerful protagonist, like, period. Like, I mean, like, sure, there were villains who were more powerful than Jade, but like, I think among the good guys, like, it was either Jade or Parcel Mistress, and I would give Jade a slight edge in that contest. When you mess around in our lives, they can have serious consequences, but you always leave afterwards, and you don't live out those consequences with us. Little bit of hive swap is a treat. Little A hive swap. Little A salami is apparently the new cheeseburger. Icon has cheeseburger of the new decade. I've not seen that meme yet, so I'll take your word for it. It was great to meet my friends, but you know what? I would have met them anyway in the game. I can't help thinking it would have been better for things to play out like they were supposed to. Debatable, especially now. So I'm sorry, but I just don't want you interfering in my life anymore. I know it's for the good of everyone if you leave us alone. I think it's for the good of everyone if you leave us alone from now on. It hurts to hear, but how could you argue with that? You tell Jade that you don't want to do anything that makes her uncomfortable. There's just, like, one little thing that you maybe already did? You gesture to Jake. He's huddled behind you, clearly having second thoughts about this. Maybe it's the gun, but then again, Jake is pretty comfortable around guns. Probably it's just fear of the mortifying ordeal of being known. That's actually a great sentence right there. Probably just the fear of the mortifying ordeal of being known. Who the fuck are you? Jade's been talking to Carcat in this timeline. Somebody googled, can cats have salami, and the all result was, cats can have little A salami as a treat. And people started laughing at how it sounded, like it was written by a cat trying to convince humans it was good advice. That's pretty funny. You watch as he clears his throat and fidgets, his hands twitching at his sides like he's thinking about hanging onto his own guns for comfort. I'm... your grandson? Jake? That's me. Jade bursts into tears. She flings herself forward and throws her arms around Jake. Okay, I know I just said I didn't want any interference, but this isn't fair. I can't believe you're here! When they pull apart, Jake's eyes are watery as hell. He's taller than Jade, being a few years older, but from the shy way he looks at her, you can tell he still sees her as the authority figure here. You can suddenly see how much Jake must have admired his grandma. Oh, that's adorable. Fine. You're still in the mood, but this is heartwarming as hell. You intentionally tune out the conversation a little as Jake and Jade gush at each other. It just seems really private. They're family, after all. You don't have any place in this conversation, which only adds to your frustrated feelings of being help-blocked. It's great that this is making Jade and Jake so happy, but it really has nothing to do with you at all. I guess I can't really give you the tour since you grew up in the same place as me. But maybe we can take advantage of this opportunity. We both grew up alone, right? Isn't there anything you always wanted to do, but you couldn't do it with only one person? Holy hell, Jade, that's a rip snorter of an idea. You've got a splendiferous mind in that noggin of yours. Aww. It's weirding me out how much you sound like my grandpa. It makes me miss him too, but I'm really happy I get to spend time with you. Me too. As to your question, there's one thing that comes forefront to the old think tank. You know how it is being a kid alone in your room on a godforsaken island in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. You start to entertain all kinds of fancies. Of course. Well, there's this cosplay I've been trying to make work for years. It's not really good. I'm not really good at cosplay. I haven't had anyone to help me bring my vision to life. Is that the kind of activity you'd be suited for? I would love to do that. What's the character? Only the best and bravest archaeologist/adventurer of all time, Lara Croft. Oh, wow. So you want to be a sexy Tomb Raider? I think I'll have to stop picturing you as my grandpa. I would love to help you with that. To be frank, Jade, I don't really think of myself as Miss Croft. I don't really think of Miss Croft as sexy. Oh, I know some unmannerly rogues like to comment on the sides of her bazombas, but from where I'm saying, she's just a consummate professional. I just admire her moxie. Oh, oops, sorry. I was just making an assumption based on her outfit, I guess. That was really rude of me. To tell the truth, I've never seen anything sexy about shorts. Explains a lot. I aspire to the freedom Lara's thighs get to experience every day. I think it's a beautiful dream. Alright. A man can wear short shorts without wanting everyone to get all randied up about it, you know what I mean? Of course he can. But what about you, my jovial grandma friend? This can't be a cosplay party This can't be a cosplay party for yours truly alone. Is there anyone you've been wanting to inhabit the garments of? Not really, but it would be fun to make a costume for me too. I could be Mr. Coxcomb. He's one of my favorite man-throat chaps. Jade turns to you, her demeanor towards you considerably softened. Hey, I'm sorry I was so mad earlier. Honestly, I was scared of what you were doing. It really shook me to find myself on an alien planet. It felt like we shouldn't be doing it. But I shouldn't have taken it out on you. I know your powers aren't your fault. Do you want to join us? We can make a costume for you, too. Oh yes, please do. Jade, this specimen right here has been nothing but a positively fantabulous friend to me all along. Have you? Have you? All you did was tow him along on a little inter-timeline jaunt. You don't feel like you've done Jake much good. Are you even really friends with Jake, or are you just piggybacking off of facilitating his friendship with Jade? It's fine, you guess. Things are going fine. Even well. But it feels unsatisfying. No real nutritional value. You don't feel good about what you've done, but you might as well... But you guess you might as well get a cool costume out of it. You tell Jake and Jade you know exactly who you want to dress like. The three of you set to work together. Dress up like Vriska. Good end, you guess. This is... So yeah, I guess this is going to be one of those sessions where we get two sort of good endings. Like a good ending and an actually good ending. And he's even got like the symbol on the hat that was retconned out, but then retconned back in from Mavris. Is that his name? Mavris? Marvis? I think that's how it is. And we've got the hat that was that's canon but not really canon. Anyway. And yeah, the Lara Croft aesthetic continues to look good on Jake. Because of course it does. And Jade just looks so excited. I love it. Alright. So that was a good ending. And now we're going to get the other good ending? I don't know. Coat doesn't show armpits. Not canon. Agree to help. Of course you're going to help. Jake asked, didn't he? Marvis, and someone almost dropped an at spoiler because you're so used to lore streams. Yeah, I don't think that'll work in mine. you're imagining MSPA reader need to describe his outfit to their outfit to Jade in exact details. Yeah, that'd be a challenge. You think enough of your old bag of you think through your old bag of friendship tricks, encouraging him to talk to people about his feelings? It'd probably be good, but it's a little complex. He's had 3 different relationships with these kids, all with their own sets of problems. And you're not convinced that Jake is really up for confrontation yet? Your best bet is probably forging unlikely connections through your powers of teleportation and friend matchmaking. You think proudly of the time you introduced Daria to Theseus, someone who's struggling with the questions Daria was facing, but found a more constructive solution. Wait, did that happen? I don't... When did that happen? I remember, because, okay, so, there was the bad ending with Daria where she burned to death in the mall. And then she showed up in that one route with, the asshole trans Jade Blood, whose name I'm blanking on all of a sudden. Daria's good ending, she got introduced to Theseus. Okay. I do not remember that at all, somehow. And you'd think that I would, because Theseus is the best girl, but I don't remember that at all. Huh. Weird. Anyway, someone struggling with the questions Daria was facing but found a more constructive solution. That's what you need. Not someone familiar to Jake, but a good foil. Someone who will be able to call Jake on his avoidance. Garcat? You need the ultimate pull-no-puncher, an expert in tough love. Yes! 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 So, remember years ago when I live blogged Homestuck, remember when Jake was introduced and like the whole time I was going, it's like, holy shit, Jake is like the dream boyfriend for Vriska. How this Jake and Vriska need to interact with each other at some point. And then they did, and it was kind of awkward as fuck, but you know, whatever. Yes! Yes! Oh, here we go. Here we go! I was right, there's the good ending, and then there's the good ending. Yes, good with 8 O's. Perfect. You ask Jake if you might take the initiative to introduce him to another one of your friends. Someone who has the kind of take-no-bullshit approach that he needs to cultivate. Someone who can really help. Oh, abso-fucking-lutely. Lead on, buckaroo. You clap your hand matedly on his shoulder and zap on over to Vriska. Oh, an MSPA reader doesn't even know about Jake's blue girl thing. Oh, this is gonna be great. You expect her to be in her hive, but when your field of vision clears, you're at the beach again. You've appeared a diplomatic distance away, not right up in her face. Vriska is walking down the beach, hands in her pockets, occasionally aiming a disaffected kick at a piece of trash. You call out to her and wave her over. Hey, she's wearing lipstick all of a sudden, I think. Because, like, that was a thing, right? Where, like, Vriska wasn't wearing lipstick before in her sprite. You call out to her and wave her over. Her face splits into a grin at the sight of you. Whoop. It gives you a warm glow, like you've befriended someone's mean cat who never gets along with visitors. It's a great way to describe Vriska. I love it. Maybe more like someone's mean mountain lion. Hey there. Hi, Vriska. What's she doing on this beach? I came here looking for my stupid fish friends. Terezi and I need an explosive device for a thing, and as much as I hate to admit, Empor ain't bad at making them. But he's not even here. I can't even find him the one time I ever want to see him. Ever. Figures. My so-called friend's leaving me to do all the work. Again. It's this kind of self-starter energy that Jake could really learn from. He also hasn't bothered to tell Jake that Vriska's an alien. I love this. I love everything about this. Speaking of, you'll start to introduce your friends to each other, but when you turn to date Jake, he's frozen, his face caught in the expression of shock and wonder. Maybe you should have mentioned your friend was an alien. You keep forgetting to mention things like that. Yes. Oh my god, this is amazing. As you look at him, Jake rallies, snapping to such a ramrod posture you half expect him to salute. He opens his mouth to speak and then shuts it. You can talk to her, you prompt. It's okay. Yes. Righto. Holy smokes, I'm ruffled as a baby's bonnet to meet you, Miss Vriska. I'm poised and trembling on the lip of your pit of knowledge, just ready to fall into the expectation abyss. Ready to learn whatever you can teach me. Although I must say, when my pal here intimated he had a friend who could help me, I didn't expect you to be of such a blue and spidery persuasion. Of course. Why would anyone be anything else when they could be blue and spidery? You have a solid point there, my extraterrestrial associate. I hope you'll pardon my candor, but a real gentleman doesn't hide from the truth. You may be the coolest girl I've ever seen in my entire life. Clears throat nervously, hoping he doesn't overstep. Well, I can't say I'm surprised to hear it. Feel free to keep listing things that are awesome about me. This is great. Despite his professed admiration for Vriska, however, Jake isn't listening. Hang on, wait. Technically, the only other girl I've seen was my grandma, but you know what I mean. It's kind of disrespectful to refer to one's own grandma as a girl, so I didn't mean her. Gosh, I seem to be rambling. Well, I hope this is a radiant exemplar of the kind of being true to myself I hope to cultivate on a regular habit from here on out. I think it can be very brave to just keep being yourself when things feel awkward, don't you think so? Oh, wow. There are so many things wrong with that, I don't even know where to start. Oh, doggone it. Really? Is this why I need your help, Miss Vriska? I didn't see anything wrong with any of that at all. Here I am going about thinking what I'm saying to everyone is thickety-boo, and it turns out it's all been a load of cattle swab fiddle-faddle. Oh man, this is the nicest present anyone's ever gotten me. Vriska has a project. She's addressing you now, ignoring Jake's question. A predatory shark smile spans her pointy face. You must have known things were getting bad with Tavros, in a different way than usual, I mean. He just kind of stopped responding in the same way he did before, but not even because of his fakey fraud confidence. He just says no good can come of talking to me. So he brought me a new nerdy loser. This rules. Well, that wasn't exactly what you expected. Although now that you think about it, why didn't you expect this? Pretty much anyone could have seen this coming. I did see this coming, that's why I was so excited about it. Hey. Except Jake, of course. I may have my little quirks and quibbles, but that doesn't mean I'm a loser. If you weren't a lady, I dare say such slanderous language would earn you a one-way ticket to Fisticuffs Island. Pages, when will they learn? Yes. Which, now that I think about it, is more or less an appropriate moniker for my permanent residence. How do you like them, Granny Smith apples? This is hilarious. I've never met anyone who makes me feel so good about myself. I'm so lucky to be cool. Excuse me, but I haven't heard hide nor hair of an apology yet, Miss Rude Alien Girl. At least Jake is standing up for himself. You get the feeling that this enthusiastic bravado won't hold up if the issue were an interpersonal one with his friends. Either way, Vriska is not backing down. She sizes Jake up, stepping forward to intimidate him. There, the chat. I'm confused about Aridin making explosive. Didn't he make Vriska? Didn't he use Vriska for doomsday devices? Seems strange for it to go for him for explosives. Well, I mean, Doomsday devices and explosives are not necessarily one and the thing. And Aridin was the one making Doomsday devices for Vriska. Who made what? Yeah, Vriska was the one who made the Doomsday Dice Cascader, the one that, like, fell on her, the one that fell on Spider-Mom in, the original Homestuck. Do you really want to fight? Because I get the feeling you're whatever your planet's equivalent of... because I get the feeling that whatever your planet's equivalent of Cullable is. I may not know what that means, but I've never once backed down from a scrum, and I'm not about to start now, chum. Whoa, no! You're not going to let two of your best friends, a category that includes all of your friends, throw down right in front of you. Especially not after Vriska compared Jake to Tavros. Yeah, I mean, what kind of insult is that? Doesn't she remember the consequences of fighting Tavros? Doesn't she want things to go differently here? Wait. What's that supposed to mean? Oh no, you didn't mean any offense. You know Vriska has been through a lot and her past mistakes should be viewed in that context, but you know Vriska didn't mean to hurt Tavros as much as he did. Right? Vriska is no longer having fun. She's turned to you now, her mouth set in a line, fists clenched at her side. You remember how magical it seemed to have earned her friendship, and how easily Vriska can lash out when she thinks her friends have turned on her? You think you know what went down between me and Tavros? Tavros was almost as pathetic as this guy. I was trying to help him get stronger. But every time I did, he just folded like a loser. He barely even tries to fight back. He was too scared and wimpy. And everyone always gets mad at me for pushing him, but that's what our planet was going to do to him. If he doesn't get stronger, he'll die. Trying to protect him from danger now is just letting that happen later. I would even say I'm the only one who ever really cared about him. At least I tried to help him shape up. You almost forgot Jake is here. But at this, he makes an indignant noise, and you turn to see that his anger and distress have ratcheted up several notches. Oh dear. It's like... Yeah, this was another thing, like, I remember commenting on this even back in Homestuck, and, like, people have, like... And now that, like, Dirk has, like, become more villainous in Homestuck 2, more people are, like, cottoning on to the comparison. But, like, there is definitely, like, a parallel between the relationship with Vriska and Tavros and Jake and Dirk. Like, they both have a very similar dynamic. Like, the relationship between Jake and Dirk was less toxic, or at least it was less toxic before the epilogues. But, like pages in general, like, the thing was, like, both of them are, in both cases you have a page, Tavros or Jake, and then they have a friend who is trying to help them, but always inadvertently ends up holding them back from, like, reaching their potential. And it's and I think Jake's about to, like, go off on Vriska for, you know, that. Well, pardon me, Spider Smurfette, but it doesn't sound like you were much of a friend at all. Oh, God. You nudge Jake, trying to let him know that Vriska can be a little scary and it might not be best to push her on this, but Jake isn't listening. No matter how much you might think you're doing this fellow a favor, from what you've said, he was really scared and sad. And I'm sorry, but that doesn't make someone stronger, it just makes him scared. Even if you think it's good for him, or even if he said it was what he wanted. Like maybe he was talking about having a fighting partner when he really wanted was companionship due to being alone all the time. And to be totally candid, it's hard to believe he didn't know that. Which means it really is more of what you want that's what's best for him. Which means it really is more about what you want than what's best for him, even though you keep saying it's what's best for him, which makes it really hard to argue. Anyway, if you ask me, you're a rotten friend, and I don't think I want you to be one of mine after all. Before Vriska can respond and almost inevitably make things worse, you cut her off. Enough is enough. You tell her you're sorry for making assumptions. You know what she was doing the best she could with all the she was given in this culture. You offer her a quick thank you for this hellish social interaction and ask for some time alone with your insipid friend here. Vriska still looks annoyed, and there's a moment where you're scared she won't let it go. But she does, stepping back and rearranging her facial expression to apathy. You guess pushing it would mean admitting she cares about your opinion of her? Whatever. Talk to you later, nerds. It's funny how, like... So is Jake gonna realize that he was just talking about himself there a fair bit there? After she leaves, you put a comforting hand on Jake's shoulder. That got pretty raw, huh? Kind of seemed like in the end there, he wasn't talking about Vriska at all. Like there's someone else he wanted to say all that stuff to. Huh? No, this has nothing to do with me about... This has nothing to do with me. It was about some weird alien situation. You gently suggested this might be one of those situations the two of you were talking about earlier, where Jake is suppressing the truth because it's inconvenient to acknowledge. Doesn't it bear some slight resemblance to a situation in his own friend group? Jake averts his gaze, clearly uncomfortable. No way! All my friends are best in show. And even if what you're implying was true, it's different when it's your friends. A man can't get by without his bros, so sometimes he has to make allowances. Certain, let's say, eccentricities are just what you have to put up with when best friends are involved. No, they're not! You're allowed to hold your friends accountable. This is weapons-grade interpersonal truth you're spouting, but Jake doesn't look enlightened. Instead, he's growing red in the face with indignation. What do you know about it anyway? Not to be rude, but it's a very personal situation between a fella and his buddies. I don't think I appreciate what you're implying. You don't want to get frustrated, but Jake did ask you for your help. The two of you came here because you were going to face up to the hard truths about Jake's life. But Jake doesn't want to do that. What, doesn't want to do that? Doesn't he want to do that? Well, of course I do. I'm ready to take a hard look at the old rum peeper, and don't you doubt it. Just that when it comes to my friends, I don't think you're saying any of them were bad. I thought you were encouraging me to take things in a more forthright direction, because, well... Tugs at collar nervously. Because of their feelings towards me? Gosh, it sounds stupid when I say it like that. I hope you know I'm not some kind of pompous braggadocio making myself out to be some slick Casanova type. I'm probably just making it up. The kind of guy who gets confused easily, especially with the number of concussions I've sustained over the years. A real beef-witted bozo, that's me. But more than once I've got an inkling that some of my friends might be giving me the old eagle eye, firing up the court maneuvers, if you get my drift. So when you said things weren't right between me and my friends, that's sort of where I thought the personal change train was heading. An impression only further boistered when you proceeded to introduce me to your blue arachnid-themed friend. I figured you remembered my sapphire sirens from my room. Yeah, cullbait, not cullable, from a while ago. You know, and the teary and all that. Sweet gesture, though, just so you're aware. She's a little too young for me to take that kind of interest. No, she's not. She's the same age you are. Yeah, she's 13 right now. I forgot. Yeah, no, she's 13 right now, so yeah, it's 3 years younger, right? Yes. Okay. The Alpha Kids are 16, Vriska's 13 right now? Okay, yeah, that was it. Still used to Vriska being 16, because she's been 16 for, like, a decade now. I appreciate the thought, though. Just some constructive criticism for next time. Now you're tempted yourself to say aloud some kind of goofy RP action indicating your embarrassment. You don't, though, because it sounds stupid when Jake does that. Jeez, this is a mess. This kid has issues on issues, and when you think you've put your finger on one, it slides away to reveal 3 more. You're playing personal growth whack-a-mole over here? Then you gamely draw yourself up and plunge onward, determined. Oh, that's a great description of Jake. Personal growth whack-a-mole. Okay, you tell Jake. So if that's what he thought you were going to talk about, let's talk about it. How does it make him feel, thinking his friends are all attracted to him? What does he plan to do about it? This is a conversation he really should have had in canon. You know, I think all that malarkey will work itself out over time. Or you'll force the issue. Like, yeah. I figure I'll wait until someone brings it up, and then I'll just go along with what they think we should do. Or you'll force the issue, or you'll steer the conversation in the direction to create the least amount of conflict possible, because you're a page and that's how you think. Yeah, like, that is like... Like, I've mentioned before that I don't really particularly care for Jake. Although, like, I think, like, the the shit that he got put through in the epilogues was a bit much. But, like, I never really cared for Jake, because I always got the impression that it's the thing about Jake is, like, he's not as stupid as he seems, and that's why I don't like him. You know what I mean? Like, I always get the impression from Jake that, like, he knows more about about how bad these interpersonal conflicts are than he lets on, and he's just choosing to ignore it because it's easier. And, like, that becomes very evident in his conversation with Jade, where he basically just outright manipulates Jane into admitting that she doesn't have feelings for him, just because like he puts her on the spot in such a way that she either has to admit it and go for it or not, and he knows that it'll be easier for her to not. So, like, he's basically taking the whole love triangle between him and Jake and her, and he's just throwing it to Jane, so it's her decision now. And that always rubbed me the wrong way. And so I've never really liked him after that moment. But then, like, the epilogues happened, and just everyone shits on him constantly, and like, that didn't seem right either. That didn't sit right with me either, because for that low-level emotional manipulation that he gets up to, he's still likable. Like, in fact, like, that's kind of his one core defining trait, is that Jake is a likable guy. And yet nobody actually likes him and it feels like nobody likes him in the epilogues. Like I mentioned before, like everyone really gets on Vriska's ass for the way she tears Jake apart on the lily pad conversation near the end of Homestuck proper. But, like, I kind of felt like she was just giving a fair description of his character at that point. He was kind of pathetic. And then, like, if you go back and take that conversation and compare it to everything that happens to Jake in the epilogues, Vriska practically seems nice by comparison. And that's just all kinds of wrong. You know me, I like Vriska as a character, but I will cop when she does bad shit. And Vriska being the nice one is, like, just a thing is a sign that the universe is tilted off its axis. Like, if Vriska is ever being the nice one, it's because something has gone wrong. Anyway, enough epilogue nonsense. Really? That's his strategy? If I keep my head down, then nobody hates me? Yeah, that's kind of Jake in a nutshell. Just, I'll keep my head down so nobody hates me. Trying to recontextualize that whole interaction as a 16-year-old being bullied by a 13-year-old? Yeah, it's great, right? It seems remarkably lackadaisical, and it gives you that sinking feeling again about what's in store for future Jake. Does he actually return any of these feelings? Sure I do. My friends are the cat's pajamas. I don't mind saying I really love them. Right, of course, but are there any one of them he feels differently about? What would he say if, for example, Jane asked him out? I'd say yes, of course. How could I say no to a top Sheba like Janie? She smars a whip with a mug to match. Alright, and what about Roxy? Phil would have to be daft as a doorknob to turn down Roxy. She's a genius tech hacker spy, like in all my favorite movies. And Strider? Why, Strider's my best bro in the world, and a mighty strapping gent if we're looking into it. I can't think of any reason to say no to a proposition like that from my best bud. The way Jake conceives of things is just far enough off from your own viewpoint that you can't help feeling like you're passing by each other without really connecting. For example, he doesn't have to have a reason to say no to a friend asking him out. It comes down to his feelings. Does he really have strong feelings for any of these people? Like, stronger feelings than he has for Natiri? Oh, hey, now, that's not really fair. Natiri is a perfect woman. No, you insist this is fair. If someone has feelings for him, he should not be with them unless he has stronger feelings for that real flesh and blood person than he has for a poster of Natiri. It's important. Well, put it that way. I don't know if I've ever had feelings like that. I don't even know if I'm capable of those kinds of feelings. So, okay, this is a thing. Okay, I got shit for this for a while when I was reading Homestuck, where, like like, I kind of got the notion in Homestuck that Jake might be like Arrow Ace, because like he never really expresses any strong feelings of romance for anyone, despite being the center of this freaking love square in the among the alpha kids, and like people always said that like no, I'm wrong about that. It's not that he's Arrow Ace, it's just that he's depressed and doesn't feel like he deserves that kind of relationship. But here he is saying it now, saying that kind of stuff now, when he's like not depressed and has no reason to like be prompted by that. Like, it's like he comes across as a little like Arrow Ace to me. Like, he's just sort of going along with these romantic relationships because they're expected of him. If that's the case, then he needs to be prepared to tell his friends that. It's not like he has to have these conversations now, but someday the feelings his friends have need to be addressed, and he needs to be ready to turn them down. He needs to make these decisions. He can't just wait for things to resolve on their own and deal with the consequences later. Huh. Wow. He doesn't sound nearly as excited about personal growth as he did before. He just sounds dejected. I must say, you've given me a lot to think about. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, you remind him. He's learning important things. Well, sorry, but a lot of people tell me it's important for me to learn various things. And for sure, sometimes they're right. I've never assumed the image of a chap who knows everything. But you've been telling me I can stand up for myself sometimes. Make my own decisions about what's right instead of letting other people tell me how to live. I just don't think I agree with you on this. Oh, he sneaks a guilty look at you from under his sad bowed head. What I mean is, I like making my pals happy. Even if I'm not always sure about if I want the things they want. And I can't imagine the consequences could really be that hard, that bad. Oh, look, my sweet summer child. I got a little boss right there. Child. Got a little Harley Quinn there. Oh, my sweet summer child. Can't imagine the consequences could be that bad. You have no idea. You have no idea at all. I think that in matters of the heart, I'm fine just going with the flow. No offense, but the way you're advocating I go about seems hard and sad. I don't want to hurt people. Hugbees in the TARDIS says, I'm being called out by Jake English. I really think it's best if I just sit back and see how things work out. And if somebody asks me to do something, I might as well try it. That's just the kind of adventure boy I am. You want to respect Jake's choices, but you can't help the exasperation rising up in you. Sure, he can decide how he wants to conduct his friendships, but the approach he's talking about is really unhealthy. If he wants to do right by his friends, then he'll be honest with them about himself. Otherwise, it's not fair to anyone. I see what you're saying, but if you want my 100% bona fide opinion, I don't think I can do that. I guess we had different ideas about what we were getting into with this. He can do that too! All he has to do is try. Jake is shaking his head. I'm sorry, I know you were really trying to help. I'm sure you're an excellent compadre, just like Spider-Girl said, but this isn't working for me. Maybe you should just take me home now? I can figure out some way to deal with the robot. He's still well below the average Jake level of energy. You can see that you really affected him, but you're far from confident that your intervention is going to make any difference in the long run. Despite his seeming earnestness, you guess Jake isn't as ready for change as he thought he was. Wait a fucking second, is this a bad end? A horrible powerlessness threatens to overwhelm you. All at once it makes you furious. This isn't fair! Jake gave you a choice between two options. You chose to help him face his problems. You know that was the right choice. You didn't do anything wrong. You were kind and patient. You talked to him sincerely and pushed him in the right direction. You deserve a good end. You deserve to save him. But you can tell Jake is emotionally closing up. You're willing to bet the conversation the two of you just had was among the most candid in his life, and he isn't ready for another. You want so badly to help him. You know exactly the changes he needs to make, but you can't make those changes for him. He needs to do it himself. And he's just not ready. Maybe he'll never be. hate this. You hate Jake and you hate yourself. Oh man. No, this has been me for the past, this has been me with Jake the entire time. You hate this, you hate Jake, and you hate yourself. Making people's lives better is the one thing that's given you your piecemeal existence any meaning, and he's taking this away from you. His stupid inability to face his issues is ruining your life. You linger as long as you can, but eventually you have to do it. You gotta take the L. Bad end, you guess. MSPA Ritter has been developing a little case of the Steven. Yeah, kind of. God, this route felt so relatable to my specific... Evil Lisa in chat saying, God, this route felt so relatable to my specific mental shit. I love how each person has their own route where they feel called out by. I'm simultaneously both Reader and Jake here. Yeah, I get that. MSPA Reader has been developing a little case of the Steven. Speaking of which, Steven Universe Future is finishing up in March, so look forward to that. I'll be live blogging that as it comes out. Over the next month. So we had, like, two kind of not even a good ending and a bad ending. We basically had two unsatisfying endings with Jake, which, as someone who has expressed my frustrations with Jake as a character in the past, feels perfect. Like, I'm sorry, but it does just feel kind of perfect that this is how we're concluding things with Jake. Ugh, Jake, yeah. Yeah, this is fitting. Like, of course this is how Jake's route went, because Jake is a fucking page. like I think I've told this story before, where at one point somebody in like an ask told me that they thought my class spec might be like a fully developed page, and I was momentarily insulted. Even though that's not actually an insult, just like being called a page was something I considered an insult. And it was like the most Vriska reaction I've ever had to anything. So yeah, that was Jake's route. No good. It's just sort of Jake is just a frustrating little character. All right, let's see the credits and the chum roll. Jade, cooking mother. Tally ho down. You threw a rad cosplay party with Jake and Jade. Not bad. And credits. Who was responsible for all this? Jake was written by Magnolia Clark, who also wrote Kanaya's route, which was also a weirdly frustrating route. Just because we didn't introduce her to Rose. Artists. Jake, same artist as Rose, Jade, and etc., which makes sense. Like it's like Jake and Jade did look perfect together, so yeah, that makes sense. Background artists by Gina Chacon again. Ending illustrations by Chacon. UI designer, but the musicians. Terezi's theme still cracks me up. And yeah, Toby Fox did the music for Jake's theme, which is Through Ruins Movement 2. Good theme. So yeah, that was Jake's theme. That was Jake's route. Next fortnight, I am assuming. It's so weird using the word fortnight, because the word fortnight was a real word before the video game came out, and so yeah, next fortnight we will be presumably doing Roxy, because there's, of course they're going to save Dirk for last, because of course they are. So that's going to be interesting. It's the only thing I'm really curious about is I wonder if they're going to I don't even know why the game is called Fortnite. The game is called Fortnite. Well, the thing was that Fortnite wasn't always a battle royale. The game Fortnite wasn't always a battle royale. It used to be basically a survival horde mode type game where you were in a fort and you were trying to fight off waves and waves of zombies that came at you endlessly. And so, like, you were in a fort at night, and you were building things. So there you go. It was a pun. You were in a fort at night you were building a fort at night. Fortnite. And then, yeah, spelled wrong on purpose so that it's more Googleable. Whereas Fortnite, the period of time is about 2 weeks, which is why. So yeah, Friend Sims and Pesterquests always come out every fortnight, usually, unless they get delayed. So yeah, next time we're going to deal with Roxy. The one thing I'm a little curious about is I have no reason to think anything terrible will happen with that. Like, Roxy is great, and I love, and that'll be fun to be with him. One thing I'm curious about is if there's going to be, like, any discussion about gender identity, because, like, and this is going to be a thing where, like she is still going to be a she. Like, I think that's something that needs to be, like, stated up front, is that in all likelihood Roxy will probably just have a female gender identity throughout Pesterquest, because she was a she when she was a teenager, and that's just going to be a thing that people are going to have to deal with, and the people who like trans Roxy are just going to have to, deal with it. Caliborn the jerk. Why does everyone think Caliborn is going to show up at all? Like, that theory has been floating around for like a year that Caliborn is going to be like a secret character in this, and I don't know why, because Caliborn is completely fucking irrelevant nowadays. Like, I don't know why people, and like what purpose would there be in bringing Caliborn into this? Like why? Who? The Dave joke preview. Or is it like a joke theory that people think Caliborn will... Okay. I can never tell what they... Well, because I always have to avoid spoilers, so I can't dig into fan theories so much, so I don't know the difference between, like, a joke theory and a real theory, but I don't know. So yeah, Roxy next fortnight. That should be good. Roxy's always been a favorite, and I expect to have a good time with her. And then Dirk, the month after that, in a month, which will be interesting. Yeah, Dirk will be coming out like a few days before the Steven Universe Future finale. So yeah, it's gonna be it's like late March is gonna be very exciting for the live blog. That's fun. Looking forward to that. On the subject of Homestuck itself, it's like, yeah. Like, I've been hinting at this for a while. It's like after Pesterquest is done, I might just stop reading Homestuck 2 entirely, because it's not really doing it for me. And we'll talk about that. It's like, I'll talk about that on Tumblr later. Because, yeah, it's, I don't know. We'll see. It's really what I should have done. I thought about this before I read the chapter and then the latest update, and then I didn't do that. Is like, I really should have waited until there was another update, so I wouldn't have an update that was all Dirk bullshit. Because I knew that if I read an update that was all Dirk bullshit, it would just put me in a bad mood and make me not want to read Homestuck 2 anymore. And sure enough, I read an update that was all Dirk bullshit, and now I don't want to read Homestuck 2 anymore. Because it was all Dirk bullshit. Like here's the thing that drives me nuts about Dirk bullshit, is that like, you back up for a bit. It's like you read the update, but you gotta like back up a bit and remember what Homestuck 2 is. Like, the story of Homestuck 2 is the story, like, the central question of Homestuck 2 is like, who deserves to be in charge of the narrative, and like the challenge is to take the narrative away from Dirk, which means like the narrative that Dirk chooses to tell doesn't actually matter, because who cares? Because, like, it's not... Because, like, the story that Dirk is telling is not the story. That's just bullshit that Dirk is making up. So when you get a whole update that's just Dirk telling the story, it feels like... What it really feels like, it feels like the Caliborn updates from Act 6. It's like, I'm not going to say the name, because that would probably get me demonetized if I said the name. But you know what I mean. It's like that, the last update, like, I found I've talked to a few people who like were really excited about the update because they're like, "Oh, this is a throwback to like all the alchemization, just messing around with alchemization from the early days of Homestuck, where they're just building weird shit with the alchematizers, and how fun is that?" I'm like, no, but it's not though. It's Caliborn fucking around with stick figures. That's what that whole update was. It's Caliborn fucking around with stick figures, but the artwork is better. That's all it's like whenever we cut to Dirk, that's all we're seeing. It's like the only actual takeaway from that update. Seriously, my only real takeaway from that is that the machine that Dirk and Rosebud are messing with might be a way for Terezi to resurrect John. Like she might be able to resurrect John and probably, but like she resurrects John, but he comes out differently, and so that's how we get June Egbert. That might be, that's like the one takeaway from this update. We have a possible avenue to get to June Egbert. Beyond that, the rest of that update was a waste of time. And I don't understand the people who see it as anything other than a waste of time. And so, like, I just feel like I'm going crazy whenever I interact with the Homestuck fandom now, because they're like, "Oh, look at how pretty Rosebud is." It's like, but Rosebud is being mind controlled into not being herself. So I don't care that Rosebud looks pretty when she's being mind controlled to be what. Anyway, so that was that. But anyway, but that's Homestuck 2, and Pesterquest is Pesterquest, and I'm actually enjoying Pesterquest, so I'm going to continue to enjoy that, and then we'll just see what happens afterwards. Goodbye.